Section 1, the urgency trap, why busy feels productive. Let's start with something that feels uncomfortably familiar, that tiny thrill you get from checking something off your list. You know that rush, the little yes moment when you hit send on an email or drag a task into the done column. It feels productive, satisfying, even virtuous. But here's the trap. Most of those micro-victories don't actually move your life forward. They just keep you busy enough to feel like you're winning, even when you're not scoring any real points. Psychologists call this the urgency effect, our tendency to prioritize whatever screams now over what quietly matters most. It's part survival instinct, part dopamine addiction. Your brain rewards you for handling immediate problems because in ancient times, reacting fast kept you alive. But in modern life, the predators are notifications, emails, and endless pings disguised as opportunity. Every alert whispers, "This can't wait," and before you know it, the day's gone, your energy's gone, and your meaningful goals are still untouched. Here's the lie urgency tells us. If you just get through this week, answer these messages, attend these meetings, crush this list, then you'll finally have space to work on the things you care about. The book idea, the fitness habit, the course you wanted to build. But that space never actually appears because new urgent things fill it instantly. Urgency multiplies, importance waits. The Eisenhower matrix makes this painfully clear. Picture 4 boxes, one for what's urgent and important, things like real deadlines, emergencies, commitments you must meet. Another for important but not urgent, the long-term work that actually shapes your future. Then there's urgent but not important, emails, instant messages, busy work that feels necessary but won't matter a month from now. The last box is neither urgent nor important. The scrolling, the drifting, the filler activities that steal your attention under the disguise of downtime. Most of us live in the first and third boxes, swinging between crisis mode and reactive maintenance, rarely touching the second box, the one that decides what our life becomes. And the reason is chemical. Every time we tackle something urgent, send a message, solve a tiny problem, we get a jolt of dopamine, the brain's quick reward signal. It feels amazing for about 20 seconds. Then we crave the next hit. This is why checking notifications feels like progress. Your brain literally rewards reactivity. But that same loop steals the patience required for deeper, slower progress, the kind that never announces itself but quietly transforms you over months and years. I remember when I learned this the hard way. I used to measure my days by how much I could check off. I'd look at a page of tick marks and feel accomplished until I realized that none of them were connected to my bigger dreams. I'd answer emails at midnight, reorganize my digital folders, tweak templates for projects that didn't even matter. It all looked productive from the outside, but inside I was exhausted and strangely hollow. I was mistaking motion for meaning. One day, a friend asked me a question I couldn't shake. If you kept living the way you did this week, what kind of life would that build? I didn't like the answer. That week built a life of constant reaction. And that's what most of us are stuck in, perpetual response mode. We work hard to look accomplished instead of being intentional. We're busy creating proof that we're doing something instead of results that make us proud. The urgency trap thrives on a specific illusion that being busy means being valuable. In achievement-driven cultures, stillness feels like laziness, so we fill every gap. When you're always in motion, you never have to face the discomfort of asking if your actions are meaningful. Busyness becomes a socially acceptable shield against self-reflection. But here's the quiet truth. Busyness without direction is a sophisticated form of avoidance. It looks heroic, but it's actually fear in disguise. Fear of slowing down long enough to see the bigger picture. Fear of realizing that you've been running the same loop for years. We cling to urgency because it feels safer than uncertainty. If we admit that some of our effort isn't meaningful, we have to change, and that's terrifying. Breaking this pattern starts with awareness. The next time you feel that impulse to rush into another small task just to feel productive, stop and ask, am I choosing this because it's important or because it's easy to finish? That single question interrupts the dopamine loop. It forces your prefrontal cortex, the rational planner, to take the wheel back from your lizard brain. You achieve in minutes what most people ignore for decades: choice in how you spend your time. So how do we shift toward the important things? Start by protecting small blocks of time for non-urgent priorities, the projects that matter even without a deadline. Treat them as sacred appointments. No multitasking, no toggling between tabs, no guilty glances at your inbox. At first, it feels uncomfortable, almost rebellious. But over time, it becomes the rhythm of meaningful work. This is the first element of the broader lifestyle framework, a system of weekly design that treats intention as the foundation of purpose. Every decision to step off the urgency treadmill is a practice in conscious time allocation, the muscle that will power every other part of your 4,000-week life. And don't expect anyone else to make this easier. The world profits from your distraction. Every platform, every app, every system around you is optimized to keep you attending to the urgent. You are surrounded by urgency machines. The only resistance is intentional design, deciding what gets your focus before the world decides for you. Because once you realize that your weeks are finite, urgency loses its glamour. Responding faster no longer looks like progress, it looks like voluntary erosion. The rush that feels productive today becomes regret tomorrow. When you notice that the important things never got the uninterrupted attention, they needed to grow. So pause right now and think about what's in your urgency loop this week. How many of those tasks will matter in 5 years? How many are just noise you're confusing for momentum? When you stop equating motion with progress, you get something far more powerful than productivity. You get clarity, and that clarity is what starts freeing your limited weeks from the endless pull of right now, so you can start building a future that's actually worth your 4,000-week investment. Section 2, the psychology of time perception. Let's step back from the noise for a second and look at why time feels so slippery. Some weeks feel endless, others vanish in a blink. You can have a day packed with meetings that leaves you feeling like you achieved nothing, and another spent quietly walking or reading that somehow feels expansive and meaningful. That's not just in your head, it's how your brain perceives time. Psychologists call this time perspective the mental lens through which you interpret your past, live your present, and imagine your future. And how you distribute your mental focus across those three determines not just how you feel about your life, but how effectively you live it. Time perspective theory, developed by Philip Zimbardo and John Boyd, explains that people tend to live predominantly in one of three orientations: the past, the present, or the future. Each of these has both healthy and unhealthy versions, and most of us move through them without realizing we've fallen into one pattern more than the others. The key to using your 4,000 weeks wisely is learning to balance them, not living trapped in any single time zone of the mind. Let's start with the past. When you look back, two main narratives shape your experience. A past positive perspective focuses on gratitude, nostalgia, and the lessons of experience. It roots you in identity and gives you confidence that you've survived challenges before. A past negative orientation, however, traps you in regret and rumination. You replay mistakes, embarrassing moments, missed chances, each loop making the present feel smaller. The funny part is that both mindsets deal with the same memories. The difference lies in interpretation. When you learn to reflect without self-punishment, the past becomes your ally instead of your jailer. Then there's the present. It sounds like the obvious place to live, right? But there are two radically different ways to inhabit it. The present hedonistic orientation is pleasure-driven, seeking instant gratification, chasing fun, and resisting restraint. It's spontaneous and exciting, but it often sabotages long-term progress because it values feeling good now over being fulfilled later. The present fatalistic mindset is the opposite. It believes nothing you do can really change outcomes, that life just happens to you. When you fall into that, ambition feels pointless and time becomes something to endure rather than direct. Still, there's a healthy present, one grounded in awareness instead of impulse or apathy. That version keeps you connected to the moment without losing sight of your path. It's the calm presence you feel when you're fully absorbed in writing, playing, or deep conversation. You're not checking the clock, but later you'll realize you spent those hours meaningfully. That's mindful engagement, and it's an underrated antidote to burnout. Finally, there's the future orientation. This is the mindset of planners, visionaries, achievers, the people who love goals, timelines, and optimization. A future positive perspective connects today's actions with future rewards. It makes delayed gratification possible. You invest in studying, training, building because you believe in the payoff later. But a future negative outlook turns that same orientation into anxiety. You imagine worst-case scenarios, fear loss, and delay choices out of worry. It's the version that whispers there's never enough time, even while you're spending time trying to prepare perfectly. When a person lives mostly in one orientation, time warps. The past-bound feel heavy. The hyper-present stretch their weeks with distraction and stress. The over-future-focused always chase the next milestone but rarely savor any of them. What research shows and what real life confirms is that people with a balanced time perspective have the highest well-being, resilience, and life satisfaction. They can draw strength from their past, act decisively in the present, and plan effectively for the future. They don't treat time as something to fight, they treat it as something to integrate. So what does balance actually look like in practice? It starts by noticing where you naturally lean. Some of us default to the past, replaying each conversation for hidden meaning. Others live in the future, filling every day with checklists of what should come next. Neither extreme is wrong, they just need calibration. Ask yourself, when did you last let a pleasant memory fuel a current goal? That's a micro moment of balance, bridging past and future through conscious presence. Here's an example. A client of mine once felt guilty about relaxing. She believed every hour not spent building her future was wasted. She'd plan her days down to 15-minute intervals and panic if something disrupted them. When she discovered time perspective theory, she started experimenting. Each morning, she spent 3 minutes recalling a positive memory that made her proud of how far she'd come, something small, like finishing a tough project months ago. Then she set one intention for the present day that aligned with her larger goal, and at night she wrote a single line about what she was grateful for today. After 2 weeks, her stress levels dropped sharply, not because she worked less, but because she felt time as whole, not fragmented. She was no longer sprinting through weeks, she was inhabiting them. Most of us, especially high achievers, over-index toward the future. We confuse preparation for security. We tell ourselves that if we just plan better, life will finally slow down, but the truth is, the future never arrives in the way we imagine. There's always another horizon. The cost of living too far ahead is that we never notice the present we worked so hard to reach. It's like constantly leaning forward while walking. You move fast but never feel stable. Shifting your time perspective isn't about ignoring any dimension, it's about giving each one a fair voice. The past teaches context. The present gives experience. The future provides direction. When one voice drowns out the others, life tilts. A balanced perspective lets you remember where you came from, live with awareness now, and move forward intentionally. That's the mental architecture of people who use their 4,000 weeks wisely. They don't just manage time, they inhabit it fully. Now, here's where this ties into your real life. Next time you feel overwhelmed, try a quick reset. Pause, name which time zone you're stuck in, and invite another one in. If you're worrying about tomorrow, anchor yourself by noticing something you appreciate right now: the sound, the color, the breath. If you're ruminating on the past, turn that memory into a teaching moment. If you're drifting aimlessly in the present, sketch one small future step. Every time you do this, you're bending time back into balance. Understanding your psychological relationship with time gives you power. It turns abstract weeks into something you can shape consciously. The stopwatch doesn't slow down, but your experience of time expands. When you function across all dimensions of time with awareness, you stop chasing life, you start pacing it. And that shift, subtle but profound, is what opens the door to controlling how your remaining weeks actually feel. Section 3, the Planning Fallacy, Why Future? You keeps lying. We all have that moment, staring at a plan that once made perfect sense, only to watch it explode in slow motion. You swore you'd finish the project by Friday. It's now Tuesday night of the next week, and somehow you're still catching up. You thought the move would take 1 weekend, the side hustle 1 month, the fitness plan 6 weeks. The same optimism that made you excited also made you blind. Psychologists call this the planning fallacy, our built-in habit of underestimating how long things take, even when we failed at similar estimates before. Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky first named it back in the 70s, and decades of follow-up research has confirmed it. Humans are relentlessly unrealistic about time. The crazy part? It doesn't matter if you know it's happening. Awareness doesn't cure it because optimism feels too good. When you picture your future self getting things done, you're not lying, you're high on potential. Your brain edits out delays, distractions, and emotional dip moments, replacing them with perfect world conditions that never actually exist. Think back to the last time you set a deadline for something that mattered. Maybe it was a creative project or a big career move. You mapped out the steps, blocked out the schedule, told yourself you'd be disciplined. But as the days passed, tiny obstacles multiplied. Emails, mood swings, feedback loops, all invisible on your original plan. It didn't fail because you were lazy. It failed because you made the same assumption almost everyone makes: future. You will be smarter, faster, and emotionally immune to chaos. But future you is still you. Same habits, same attention span, same need for lunch and rest and bathroom breaks. The problem isn't bad planning, it's idealized planning, designing your schedule for a version of yourself who doesn't exist. We picture ourselves executing tasks with robotic focus, forgetting that we live emotional, messy, unpredictable lives. The gap between plan and reality is the zone where guilt and stress breed. We end up sinking time we never budgeted into recovering from those emotions, not the tasks themselves. There's another bias inside this fallacy, the inside view. When you plan, you look from the inside of the project, thinking about every step you'll take, every tool you'll use. You forget there's a wider pattern, the outside view, which says people like you, doing things like this, usually take longer than they think. That's where the concept of reference class forecasting comes in. Instead of guessing from scratch, you look at similar projects you or others have done and base your prediction on their actual timelines. If the last 3 reports took 6 weeks each, stop kidding yourself that this one will take 3 because you learned from mistakes. The data says otherwise. Writers use this trick all the time. If your last article took 8 hours, start with that baseline. Adjust only if you can name something specific that will change. Not I'll be more focused, but I'll skip external research because I've already collected sources. That small shift from hopeful estimation to evidence-based forecasting transforms your relationship with time. You stop seeing delays as personal failures and start seeing them as predictable variables. Still, even with outside data, human optimism sneaks in. That's why it helps to run a pre-mortem before big goals. Instead of envisioning success, imagine you've failed. Ask yourself, it's 6 months from now, this project fell apart. What happened? Maybe you realize your timeline ignored holidays, or your collaborator always delivers late, or your motivation dips after week 3. Listing those failure points ahead of time lets you build buffers where you'll need them most. It's unglamorous, but prevention beats panic every time. One student I coached learned this trick when she kept underestimating study time. She'd plan weekend marathons, then crash after 3 hours. Finally, we looked at her past data. Every time she said, "I'll study all day," she averaged 4 hours of real focus. So we flipped the script. She planned for 4 hours and counted anything beyond that as bonus time. Her stress vanished because she stopped promising future her a fantasy. Within 2 weeks, her consistency doubled. She wasn't working harder, she was planning honestly. Here's another reality check method. Track actual versus estimated time for a month. Write down how long tasks actually take, from chores to work projects. It's boring at first, but it rebuilds your internal clock. Soon, your instincts recalibrate. When you go to plan the next thing, your "this should take 2 hours" voice becomes a solid, realistically 4. That gap is where peace lives. And it's not just timing we distort, it's energy. Future. You always has infinite motivation. You tell yourself, next week I'll wake up early and crush it. But next week arrives and you're still you, maybe tired, emotionally drained, tempted by the same distractions. To fight that lie, design your schedule as if your energy will be lower than ideal. That's what productivity experts call defensive scheduling. Build around your weakest moments, not your best intentions. I used to build aggressive timelines because I thought efficiency equaled worth. But the more I tracked my real output, the clearer it became. I wasn't failing because I was lazy. I was failing because I was delusional. I'd plan 10-hour creative days that didn't account for the hour it takes to warm up creatively or the half hour to recover after tough feedback. Once I added those inevitable slowdowns to my calendar, something amazing happened. I actually started finishing projects faster because I stopped hating myself for running late. Reality became part of the plan. So here's your future. You fix. Treat every plan as a negotiation, not a promise. When you write down a goal, imagine sitting across the table from your future self and asking, will you still want to do this on that day, in that mood, with that energy? If the answer feels shaky, redesign the plan. Add shorter steps, bigger rewards, or clearer accountability. You're not lowering standards, you're raising accuracy. One technique that helps bridge honesty and motivation is using implementation intentions, specific if-then rules. Like if it's 8 and I'm still scrolling, I'll close the app and open my project file. These micro-contracts tie real conditions to actions, reducing the need for willpower when future you inevitably resists. They shrink the gap between plan and follow-through because the decision is already made. And finally, a mindset shift that completes the loop. Delay optimism, but never hope. Being realistic with time doesn't mean being cynical, it means you respect time enough to stop gambling with it. The planning fallacy convinces you that success depends on perfect scheduling. In truth, success depends on flexible consistency. Plans are rough sketches, progress is the messy painting that follows. Next time you start a big project, don't ask, how soon can I finish this? Ask, what will real life look like while I try? Imagine the interruptions, the distractions, the unexpected Tuesday slump. Plan for reality, not fantasy. That's how you stop future you from whispering lies and start building a life that runs on truth. Because when you face time honestly, you stop letting optimism steal your weeks and start investing them where they actually count.